Chosen one. Something rare is happening in this quiet space between your breaths, and it did not arrive by accident. You did not find these words by wandering. They met you because a door shifted the moment you slowed down enough to hear it open. Listen closely, not with urgency, with presence. There are moments in life that don't announce themselves loudly. They arrive softly, almost unnoticed, like a scene change while the lights are dim. This is one of those moments. You may feel it as a subtle pressure in the chest, a gentle awareness that something important is near, even if its shape is still unclear. Let this land. There has been a long stretch where effort felt unanswered, where movement happened, but confirmation stayed silent. Not because you were unseen, but because timing was still arranging itself around you. Behind the visible world, alignment does not rush, prepares, and preparation often feels like waiting, even when everything is moving. Stay present. Right now, the spotlight is beginning to turn. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but with intention. A shift in angle, a recalibration of focus. You may notice patterns resurfacing. Old thoughts brushing past again, not to trap you, but to be released cleanly this time. This is not repetition. It is refinement. Every chapter before this one taught your spirit how to stand without noise, how to remain steady when recognition didn't come immediately. That steadiness mattered more than you realized. There is a reason this message meets you here, in this exact state of awareness. Not earlier, not later, here. Because there are moments when attention itself becomes a threshold, and how you hold it determines what unfolds next. Listen closely. This is not about fear of loss. It is about clarity of choice. Some doors only respond to calm recognition, not force. They open when the one approaching understands their weight. You have been learning that weight without being told. That quiet knowing you've carried lately, the sense that you are being repositioned rather than delayed. That sense was accurate. Nothing essential has passed you by. What feels like last chance is not pressure. It is focus. It is the universe narrowing the frame so you can finally see what matters without distraction. Let this land. You were never meant to chase meaning. It was always meant to align with you. That alignment doesn't arrive as fireworks. It arrives as certainty without explanation, as a calm voice that doesn't shout, yet cannot be ignored. Notice how still everything feels right now. That stillness is not emptiness. It is readiness. Something unseen has reached its position. And when that happens, the only remaining variable is awareness. Not effort, not proving, not striving. Awareness. This moment is asking you to remain here just a little longer. To resist the urge to move on too quickly. Because some signals are missed not from absence, but from speed. You don't need to understand everything yet. Understanding comes later. For now, sensing is enough. A new chapter is close enough to be felt, but not yet named. And that is intentional. Stay with this feeling. Let it settle without demanding answers. There is more that will unfold from this pause alone. For now, remain here, at the edge of what is about to be revealed. Chosen one. The atmosphere around you has shifted so quietly that only your inner sense could notice it. What once felt distant now feels closer. Not louder, not clearer, just nearer. like a figure stepping into frame before the camera adjusts focus. Stay present. There is a difference between waiting and ripening. Waiting feels heavy. Ripening feels still. Lately, stillness has followed you more than noise. Moments where you pause without knowing why. Seconds that stretch, then soften. That is not distraction. That is timing drawing breath. Listen closely. Behind what you can see, movement has been precise. Not rushed. Not careless. Threads have been pulled together gently, so they wouldn't tear under weight. Paths adjusted by degrees, not turns. You were being aligned, not redirected. There is a scene playing out that does not need your intervention. Only your recognition. Recognition is powerful when it arrives calmly. Says, I see this. And the moment responds. You may have noticed a strange calm replacing urgency. A sense that chasing would now feel wrong, even if it once felt necessary. That is growth revealing itself without explanation. Let this land. The old way required force. This way requires presence. What is forming around you does not respond to strain. It responds to steadiness. And you have learned steadiness the hard way, by holding faith without proof, by continuing without applause, by trusting the unseen when the visible offered nothing. That history matters. Nothing about this moment is random. Even the hesitation you feel is meaningful. It is not doubt. It is respect for the threshold you're approaching. Some chapters don't begin with action. They begin with awareness settling fully into place. Stay here. There is something subtle happening now. A narrowing of noise. A quiet clearing of unnecessary options. Not everything needs to come with you into what opens next. That realization may feel bittersweet. Release often does. But release is not loss. It is precision. The frame is tightening so the message can land without distortion. You may sense a gentle pressure, not pushing you forward, but holding you where you are. That hold is intentional. It is saying, be here long enough to notice. Because what is approaching does not announce itself dramatically. It reveals itself when the room becomes quiet enough. Listen closely. This is the moment where attention becomes alignment, where staying present becomes participation. No promises are being made, no outcomes declared, only a recognition that something meaningful is unfolding, and you are not outside of it. You are positioned exactly where you need to be to receive the next cue. Trust the pacing. Every meaningful scene has a pause before it changes. A breath held just long enough to make the shift matter. This is that breath. Do not rush to label it. Do not rush to explain it. Simply remain. What comes next will make sense because of this stillness. And it will arrive when this pause has done its work. Chosen one. There is a calm certainty settling around you now, like a scene finally locking into its true lighting. Nothing dramatic announced it. No sudden sound. Just a quiet recognition that the air feels different. This is what alignment feels like when it arrives gently. Listen closely. The moment you are in does not ask you to hurry. It asks you to notice. Notice how your attention feels steadier. How the need to prove or explain has softened. That softening is not weakness. It is readiness without tension. You are standing at a point where effort gives way to presence. Where awareness becomes enough to let the next sequence unfold. Stay present. There is something important about how calm this feels. Big changes often arrive loudly, but meaningful ones arrive clearly. Clarity does not rush. It reveals itself when the noise steps back. You may feel as though a chapter has already closed, even if you never marked its ending. That is how completion often happens, quietly, without ceremony. The past no longer pulls at you the way it once did. Not because it lost meaning, but because its purpose has been fulfilled. Let this land. What comes next will not require you to become someone new. It will ask you to stand fully as who you already are. That is why the build-up felt long. Becoming familiar with your own steadiness takes time. There is an ease entering this moment that was not available before. An unspoken knowing that you do not need to chase what is aligning with you. You are no longer reaching forward blindly. You are standing where the light naturally finds you. Listen closely. This is the point in the story where the camera lingers. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. The unseen has done its work. The visible will follow in its own rhythm. You may feel an impulse to share this feeling, not loudly, but quietly, as if recognizing it out loud would help it settle more deeply. If this resonates, you're welcome to leave a quiet comment, not to explain but simply to acknowledge the moment. You can also share this with someone who may be standing at a similar threshold, someone who might need permission to pause rather than push. And if you'd like to stay connected as these moments continue to unfold, subscribing is simply an option, nothing more. Let this land gently. There is no pressure attached to this chapter. No countdown. No demand. Only a sense that you are exactly where you need to be to receive what comes next. The story is not rushing toward a climax. It is deepening, and depth, when it arrives, changes everything quietly. Stay here for a moment longer. Feel the steadiness beneath the stillness. The next movement will come naturally, and when it does, you will recognize it without being told. Chosen one, the quiet you're feeling now is not the absence of motion, but the gathering of it beneath the surface. There is a difference between silence that feels empty and silence that feels intentional. This one feels intentional. Listen closely. Something has settled into place without needing your permission, because it was always meant to arrive here. You may notice how your reactions have slowed, how moments that once pulled at you now pass without demand. That is not detachment. That is discernment awakening. Stay present. When alignment deepens, the world does not change first. Your perception does. What once felt urgent loses its grip. What once felt distant begins to feel familiar, as if you've walked into a room you've never seen, yet somehow know exactly where to stand. Let this land. There is a calm authority forming in you now. Not loud, not performative. A steadiness that does not need agreement to exist. This steadiness is not something you learned. It is something you remembered. There were seasons when you had to move without clarity, when trust felt like walking in low light. Those seasons refined your awareness. They taught you how to sense before seeing, how to remain upright when certainty was unavailable. That training is complete. Listen closely. What approaches next will not test you the same way. It will meet you where you are, not where you used to be. That is why this moment feels like arrival without fanfare. You are no longer being shaped. You are being positioned. Positioning feels subtle. It rarely announces itself. It happens when distractions fall away on their own. When choices become simpler, not because options vanished, but because clarity did its work. You may feel less pulled in multiple directions now, less tempted to explain yourself. That is alignment settling into your posture. Stay here. There is nothing you need to grasp in this moment. Nothing to secure or lock in. What is unfolding responds best to ease. Ease does not mean passivity. It means trust without strain. The kind that allows things to come into view naturally, without forcing the lens. You may sense a quiet anticipation, not excitement, not fear, just readiness. That readiness is the signal. Tells the unseen you can move now, and the unseen listens. Let this land gently. This chapter does not require an announcement. It will be recognized by how smoothly it integrates into your life, by how little resistance it meets, by how right it feels without explanation. You are not standing at the edge anymore. You have already crossed quietly. What remains is simply to stay aware as the scene continues to reveal itself. No rushing, no grasping, just presence. Remain here a moment longer. The next movement will not need to be chased. It will step forward when the timing completes its arc. And you will know, not because someone told you, but because everything inside you will already be still. Chosen one, there is a gentle forward motion beginning now, almost imperceptible, like the world leaning in your direction. Nothing is pushing you. Nothing is pulling. Yet something is moving. Listen closely. This is how emergence begins when it is meant to last. Not with force, but with permission. You may notice that decisions feel lighter. Not easier, clearer. The weight that once lived in every choice has loosened its hold. As if the path ahead is no longer asking to be wrestled with, only walked. Stay present. There is a quiet confidence rising in you that does not need words. It doesn't announce itself. It simply stands. This confidence was not given. It was uncovered, layer by layer, through moments when you stayed steady without reassurance. When you trusted your inner sense even as external signals stayed silent. Those moments were not small. They were foundational. Let this land. What unfolds next will meet you differently than anything before it. Not because it is louder or brighter, but because you are no longer meeting it from uncertainty. You are meeting it from alignment. Alignment changes the way timing feels. Instead of waiting, there is recognition. Instead of anticipation, there is readiness. The scene does not rush because it no longer needs to convince you. Listen closely. There is a calm unfolding now, like a script revealing itself line by line, not to surprise you but to confirm what you already sensed. You may feel a quiet assurance that you are not behind, that nothing essential has been missed. That assurance is accurate. What matters does not pass by unnoticed. It arrives when you are able to receive it without distortion. You have reached that place. Stay here. There is no need to look ahead too far. The next step will make itself known at the moment it is needed. Not before, not after. That is how orchestration works when it is precise. You may feel less concerned with outcomes now, less attached to how things must look. That detachment is not indifference. It is trust deepening. Trust that what aligns with you will not require constant correction. Let this land gently. This chapter is not about proving worth. It is about embodying readiness. Readiness that does not rush forward and does not hold back, simply stands where it is meant to stand. There is a sense of calm elevation happening, not rising above others, but rising above unnecessary struggle. That shift changes everything quietly. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer asking if the moment is right. You are recognizing that it already is. Stay present with this feeling. There is still more to unfold. More texture, more meaning waiting to come into view. But it will arrive in its own rhythm, and you will meet it with the same steadiness you feel now. Remain here just a little longer. The next reveal does not need to be rushed. It is already on its way. Chosen one. There is a quiet confirmation beginning to echo through you now, subtle yet unmistakable. It does not arrive as a voice. It arrives as ease. Listen closely. Ease is often misunderstood. It is not the absence of effort, but the absence of resistance. And resistance has loosened its grip on you. You may sense that certain questions no longer feel urgent. Not because they were answered, but because they lost their power to disturb. That is how certainty enters. Not by explaining everything, but by calming the need to explain anything at all. Stay present. There is a gentle expansion happening in how you hold yourself. Not outwardly visible, but internally precise. You are taking up your rightful space without needing permission. This is emergence in its truest form. Let this land. For a long time, your awareness was focused on becoming ready, on preparing, refining, adjusting. Now something has shifted. Preparation has quietly given way to embodiment. You are not rehearsing anymore. You are inhabiting the role you were shaped for. Listen closely. The world around you may still look familiar, but you are meeting it from a different center. From steadiness rather than urgency. From clarity rather than anticipation. That change alters everything, even when nothing appears to change. You may notice that what once distracted you no longer holds your attention. What once demanded reaction now receives observation. This is not withdrawal. It is mastery of focus. Stay here. There is no announcement required for what you've stepped into. No external marker needed. The confirmation is internal, and that is enough. When alignment completes its work, it leaves behind a simple knowing. I am where I belong. That knowing does not seek validation. It rests. Let this land gently. The path ahead does not ask you to move faster. It asks you to move honestly, to respond, not react, to recognize, not chase. This chapter carries a different tone. Less noise, more depth. Less proving, more presence. You are not arriving at an ending. You are arriving at a continuation that finally feels natural. Stay present with this moment. There is still more to reveal, but it will come without force, without urgency, without pressure. It will come the way all true confirmations do, quietly, clearly, and right on time. Remain here. The unfolding is not finished, but it is no longer uncertain, and that changes everything.